Namaste, Dhanava Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we're here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 7, Text 10. Dhanava Pranam Om Devi.
Hare Krishna, Dhanava Pranam.
Tadhavrishadvajadvesha Kalilatma Prajapati Shivabhalokad Abhavach Charadrada Ivamala. At that time, when Dakṣa saw Lord Shiva, who rides upon a bull, his heart, which was polluted by envy of Lord Shiva, was immediately cleansed, just as the water in a lake is cleansed by autumn rains. Purport. Here is an example of why Lord Shiva is called auspicious. If anyone sees Lord Shiva with devotion and reverence, his heart is immediately cleansed. King Dakṣa was polluted by envy of Lord Shiva, and yet by seeing him with a little love and devotion, his heart immediately became cleansed. In the rainy season, the reservoirs of water become dirty and muddy, but as soon as the autumn rain comes, all the water immediately becomes clear and transparent. Similarly, although Dakṣa's heart was impure because of his having slandered Lord Shiva, for which he was severely punished, Dakṣa now came to consciousness, and just by seeing Lord Shiva with veneration and respect, he became immediately purified. Text 11. Bhavastavaya kritadir nasagnod anuragata outkantatyad baspakalaya samparitam sutam smaran. King Dakṣa wanted to offer prayers to Lord Shiva, but as he remembered the ill-fated death of his daughter Sati, his eyes filled with tears, and in bereavement his voice choked up and he couldn't say anything. Text 12. Kritrat samstabhya chamana premavivhalita sudi shasamsa nirvalikena bhavenesham prajapati. At this time, King Dakṣa, afflicted by love and affection, was very much awakened to his real senses. With great endeavor, he pacified his mind, checked his feelings, and with pure consciousness began to offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Text 13. Dakṣa uvacha bhuyan anugraha aho bhavata krito me dandastvaya mahi prito yad api pralabdaha na brahma bandhu shuchavam bhagavan avagya tubhyam harischa kuta eva dhritavratishu. King Dakṣa said, "My dear Lord Shiva, I committed a great offense against you, but you are so kind that instead of withdrawing your mercy, you have done me a great favor by punishing me. You and Lord Vishnu never neglect even useless, unqualified brahmanas. Why then should you neglect me who am engaged in performing sacrifices?" Purport. Although Dakṣa felt defeated, he knew that his punishment was simply the great mercy of Lord Shiva. He remembered that Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu are never neglectful of the brahmanas, and even though the brahmanas are sometimes unqualified according to Vedic civilization, a descendant of a brahmana family should never be heavily punished. This was exemplified by Arjuna's treatment of Asvatthama. Asvatthama was the son of a great brahmana, Dronacharya, and in spite of his having committed a great offense of killing all the sleeping sons of the Pandavas, for which he was condemned even by Lord Krishna, Arjuna excused him by not killing him because he had happened to be the son of the Brahmana. A word, Brahma Bandhushu, used here is significant. Brahma Bandhu means a person who is born of a Brahmana father, but whose activities are not up to the standard of the Brahmanas. Such a person is not a Brahmana, but a Brahmabandhu. Dakṣa proved himself to be a Brahmabandhu. He was born of a great Brahmana father, Lord Brahma, but his treatment of Lord Shiva was not exactly Brahminical. Therefore, he admitted that he was not a perfect Brahmana. Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, however, are affectionate even to imperfect Brahmana. Lord Shiva punished Dakṣa not as one does his enemy. Rather, he punished Dakṣa just to bring him to his senses, so that he would know that he had done wrong. Dakṣa could understand this, and he acknowledged the great mercy of Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva towards the fallen Brahmanas, including even himself. Although he was fallen, his vow to execute the sacrifice as is the duty of Brahmanas, and thus he began his prayers to Lord Shiva. 14. Vidyatapo vrata dharan mukatasma vibran brahmatma tattvam avitum pratamam tvam asrak tad brahmanan parama sarva vipatsu pasi palhapasuniva vibho pragrihita danda. My dear, great, and powerful Lord Shiva, you were created first from the mouth of Lord Brahma in order to protect the Brahmanas in pursuing education, austerities, vows, and self-realization. As protector of the Brahmanas, you always protect the regulative principles they follow, just as a cowherd boy keeps a stick in his hand to give protection to the cows. Purport. The specific function of a human being in society, irrespective of his social status, is to practice control of the mind and senses by observing the regulative principles enjoined in the Vedic Shastras. Lord Shiva is called Pashupati because he protects the living entities in their developed consciousness so that they may follow the Vedic system of Varna and Ashram. The word Pashu refers to the animal as well as to the human entity. It is stated here that Lord Shiva is always interested in protecting the animals and animalistic living entities who are not very advanced in the spiritual sense. It is also stated that Brahmanas are produced from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. We should always remember that Lord Shiva is being addressed as the representative of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. In the Vedic literature, it is described that the Brahmanas are born from the mouth of the universal form of Vishnu. The Kshatriyas are born from his arms, the Vaishyas from his abdomen or waist, and the Sudras from his legs. In the formation of a body, the head is principal factor. The Brahmanas are born from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to accept charity for worship of Vishnu and to spread Vedic knowledge. Lord Shiva is known as Pashupati, the protector of the Brahmanas and other living entities. He protects them from the attacks of non-Brahmanas or uncultured persons who are against the self-realization process. Another feature of this word is that persons who are simply attached to the ritualistic portion of the Vedas and do not understand the situation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not any more advanced than animals. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is confirmed that even though one performs the rituals of the Vedas, if he does not develop a sense of Lord Krishna, of Krishna consciousness, a sense of Krishna consciousness, then all his labor in performing Vedic rituals is considered to be simply a waste of time. Lord Shiva's aim in destroying the Dakṣa Yajna was to punish Dakṣa, because by neglecting him, Lord Shiva, Dakṣa was committing a great offense. Lord Shiva's punishment was just like that of a cowherd boy who keeps a stick to frighten his animals. It is commonly said that to give protection to animals, a stick is needed because animals cannot reason and argue. Their reasoning and argument is argumentum ad baculum. Unless there is a rod, they do not obey. Force is required for the animalistic class of men, whereas those who are advanced and convinced by reasons, arguments, and scriptural authority. Persons who are simply attached to Vedic rituals without further advancement of devotional service or Krishna consciousness are almost like animals, and Lord Shiva is in charge of giving them protection and sometimes punishing them just as he punished Dakṣa. Text 15. Yoso maya vidita tatvadrisha sabhayam Kshipto durukti vishkar vignanaya tanmam arvakpatantam arhatam anindiyapad dristyardraya sabhagavan svakritena tusyat. I did not know your full glories. For this reason I threw arrows of sharp words at you in the open assembly, although you did not take them into account. I was going down to hell because of my disobedience to you, who are the most respectable personality, but you took compassion upon me and saved me by awarding punishment. I request that you be pleased by your own mercy, since I cannot satisfy you by my words. Purport. As usual, a devotee in an adverse condition of life accepts such a condition by the mercy of the Lord. Factually, the insulting words used by Dakṣa against Lord Shiva were enough to have him thrown perpetually into a hellish life. But Lord Shiva, being kind toward him, awarded him punishment to neutralize the offense. King Dakṣa realized this and, feeling obliged for Lord Shiva's magnanimous behavior, wanted to show his gratitude. Sometimes a father punishes his child, and when the child is growing up and comes to his senses, he understands that the father's punishment was not actually punishment, but mercy. Similarly, Dakṣa appreciated that the punishment offered to him by Lord Shiva was a manifestation of Lord Shiva's mercy. That is the symptom of a person making progress on the path of Krishna consciousness. It is said that a devotee in Krishna consciousness never takes any miserable condition of life to be condemnation by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He accepts the miserable condition to be the grace of the Lord. He thinks I would have been punished or put into a more dangerous condition of life due to my past misdeeds, but the Lord has protected me. Thus I have received only a little punishment as token of execution of the law of karma. Thinking of his grace in that way, a devotee always surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead more and more seriously, and is not disturbed by such so-called punishments. Text 16. Maitreya uvacha kshamapyaivam samidvamsam brahmana chanu mantrita karma santanayam asa sopadhyagyartvig adibi. The great sage Maitreya said, thus being pardoned by Lord Shiva, King Dakṣa, with the permission of Lord Brahma, again began the performance of the yajna, along with the great learned sages, the priests, and others. 17. Vaishnavam yajna santayai trikapalam dvijotama purodasam niravapan virasam sharga sudhaye. Thereafter, in order to resume the activities of the sacrifice, the Brahmanas first arranged to purify the sacrificial arena of the contamination caused by the touch of Virabhadra and the other ghostly followers of Lord Shiva. Then they arranged to offer into the fire the oblations known as Purudasha. Purport. Lord Shiva's followers and devotees, headed by Virabhadra, are known as Viras, and they are ghostly demons. Not only did they pollute the entire sacrificial arena by their very presence, but they disturbed the whole situation by passing stool and urine. And therefore, the infection they had created was to first be purified by the method of offering Purudasha, oblations. A Vishnu Yajna, or an offering to Lord Vishnu, cannot be performed uncleanly. To offer anything in an unclean state is called a sevaparada. Seva-aparad. The worship of Vishnu deity in the temple is also Vishnu Yajna. In all Vishnu temples, therefore, the priest who takes care of the Archan Vidhi must be very clean. Everything should be always kept neat and clean, and the foodstuffs should be prepared in a neat and clean manner. All these regulative principles are described in Nectar of Devotion. There are 32 kinds of offenses in discharging Archan service. It is required, therefore, that one be extremely careful not to be unclean. Generally, whenever any ritualistic ceremony is begun, the holy name of Lord Vishnu is first chanted in order to purify the situation. whether one is in a pure or impure condition, internally or externally. If one chants or even remembers the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, one immediately becomes purified. The yajna arena was desecrated by the presence of Lord Shiva's followers, headed by Virabhadra, and therefore the entire arena had to be sanctified. Although Lord Shiva was present and he is all auspicious, it was still necessary to sanctify the place because his followers had broken into the arena and committed so many obnoxious acts. That sanctification was possible only by chanting the holy name of Vishnu, Trikapala, which can sanctify the three worlds. In other words, it is admitted herein that the followers of Lord Shiva are generally unclean. They are not even very hygienic. They do not take baths regularly, they keep wearing long hair, and they smoke ganja. Persons of such irregular habits are counted amongst the ghosts. Since they are present in the sacrificial arena, the atmosphere became polluted, and it had to be sanctified by Trikapala oblations, which indicated the invocations of Vishnu's favor. Text 18. Advaryunattahavisa yajamano vishampate diha vishudaya dadyo tata pradur abhudarai. The great sage Maitreya said to Vidura, "My dear Vidura, as soon as King Dakṣa offered the clarified butter with Yajurveda mantras and sanctified meditation, Lord Vishnu appeared there in his original form as Narayan." Purport. Lord Vishnu is all-pervading. Any devotee who is in sanctified meditation, following the regulative principles, chants the required mantras in service, and in a devotional mood, can see Vishnu. It is said in the Brahma Samhita that a devotee whose eyes are anointed with the ointment of love of Godhead can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead always within his heart. Lord Shamsundara is so kind to his devotee. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 19 on Wednesday. Are there any comments or questions from the assembled devotees? Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All
Jai.
glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrsimhapali
Jai.
Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur
Jai.
Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath
Jai.
Baladev Subhadra Juda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan, Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund
Jai.
Radhakund Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi, Bhakti Devi, Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai
Jai.
Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai, Scientific
Jai.
Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai. Srimad
Jai.
Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya
Jai.
Saraswat Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tagore Premanandi Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Shrimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhagavananda Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Krishna Keshava
Krishna
Prabhu ki
Keshav
jai.
Prabhu ki jai.
Jai. Dandavat Pranam.
Dhanyavad.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam Prabhu.
Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.